guys, I just came back from my driving test. And I passed! With no minors. What? Top 5 most unexpected passes of the century, because after both of my instructors said I wasn't going to pass, both of my instructors telling my dad to cancel my test, that I had no chance of passing, I was like, oh, what am I doing? Basically, to make a long story short, my test was moved from like, I think December at first, and then October, and then to February, and then last minute, like a week ago, my dad was able to get cancellation for September, and I had like a week of preparing to drive, and I hadn't driven since like June at this point. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna fail. And I'm doing my test in a week, and it's in Crawley. I've never been to Crawley in my life. Crawley has like a pass rate of like 40%. Oh, and on top of that, none of my instructors wanted to take me to Crawley as well. They didn't take me to Crawley. One of them just didn't want to take me to Crawley because they'd never taught in Crawley before. The other one just didn't want to. So I was just so nervous. I was like, Dad, why would you put this test? I'm not gonna pass. But for some reason, I don't know, my dad must have like a magic 8 ball, but he believed in me for some reason. Everyone said I was not gonna pass. But yeah, so literally 2 days before, my dad took me to Crawley 2 times, and then once again in the morning of my test. And that was all the practice I had. And bear in mind, he is not an instructor. Like, we got into so many arguments. So I was convinced I was not gonna pass. And then when it came to the test, like, pressed some buttons on the wheels, and basically my dad has like a little screen in front that says like the speed that the car is going, like really big, and I was relying on that. And then I pressed some buttons on the wheels and it disappeared, and I didn't know where it went, and I was just driving. I was like, oh my god, my speed's gone. I can't tell what, like, how fast I'm going. So I just had to like look at the cars in front and like really hope that he makes me like pull up somewhere like really soon, because I had no idea what speed I was going. But I played it safe, obviously. Like, I was responsible about it. I was going pretty slow. And then he eventually he made me like pull up on the right, and I asked him like, please can I just like press some buttons, I need to put this back. And I was like panicking, and he was really nice about it. Like, I think he realized what happened. That's why he made me pull up. And also, the reason that my mom failed her first driving test is because she was reversing around the corner when it was like, because now I don't think it's a maneuver anymore. When it was a maneuver, she was reversing around the corner and her wheel like went on the curb, and that's why she failed her test. And so when he told me to pull up on the right, the first time he told me to pull up, I freaked out, and my wheels also didn't go on the curb, but it like kissed the curb basically, and I could feel it, and the instructor could feel it, and I was like, oh my god, I failed my test. For some reason I thought that was a fail. I don't know why. Like, I just think it was just so nervous, and I was like, oh my god, my mum failed for touching the curb, like, I'm gonna fail. I failed. And then I looked at him, but he didn't say anything. But apparently that's not a fail. So I don't know why I thought it was. But the maneuver he gave me was parallel parking, and so good, because that's my favorite. And he said like, oh, ignore the lowered curb, pretend it's a raised curb. So I did that, and then like for some reason I just got nervous again, and I was able to park really nicely, but I was just like, I looked over to him, I was like, you said ignore the curb, right? You said ignore the curb. But he literally looked at me and he didn't say anything. I don't think they're allowed to say anything, so I was just really nervous. I was like, I really hope that I heard that right. But the whole time he didn't even touch his iPad, and I thought I was like, right, I failed. Like, he's not even turning on his iPad. I failed. Like, I must have done something at the test centre that made me fail, because he's not even bothering to write down any of my minors or anything. But turns out that was because I had no minors. That was because I literally drove perfectly. And I don't know how I did that. Also, the routes that my dad and I practiced, we found 2 routes, because there are apps that show you the routes, but you have to pay for it. So we did those 2 routes. And we basically drove like all around Crawley, but when it came to my test, he made me take 1 exit on the first roundabout that I've never been to. I've never been to that area in my life. So I didn't drive around anywhere where I drove when I was practicing with my dad. Nowhere. He took me down to like, Horsham. Eventually I was in Horsham, and I was like, oh my god, this is such an unfamiliar place. Like, I'd never driven here. I'm so nervous. So yeah, I've never driven there, so I don't know how I managed to get clean sheet. And then we got back to the test centre, and my dad was there. He was literally waiting for me. He was tracking me. And then I literally had my head down. I was so sure I failed. I don't know why. I just had so many things I thought I did wrong. He was like, I'm pleased to tell you that you've passed your driving test. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, clean sheet. And I'm like, what? I didn't even hear clean sheet until my dad told me after. I didn't know what that meant. But I'm absolutely shocked. Like, but I'm so happy. So yeah, I can't believe it. I can't wait to give you guys a car tour as well. It's gonna be so cute. I can't wait.